The trauma team stepped back from the table. Time of death, 22:47. But Nurse Sarah Chen didn't move. Her hand hovered over the patient's chest. Her eyes locked on the monitor. The attending physician turned. "Nurse," I said, "I heard you." Her voice was different now. Colder, controlled. She reached for an instrument that wasn't in any hospital protocol. The chief surgeon stepped forward. "What do you think?" Your Sarah's other hand moved to her collar, beneath her scrubs. Something metallic glinted. Something that shouldn't exist in a civilian hospital. "Everyone step back," she said quietly. "That's not a request." Outside, black SUVs were already pulling into the parking lot. Who was Nurse Sarah Chen? And what had she just done? 3 hours earlier, Sarah Chen had been restocking supply. Cabinets, just another Tuesday night. Shift at Metro General Hospital, just another face in scrubs that no one really noticed. She preferred it that way. The emergency room doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in with a gurney. W to the chest. BP dropping. "We're losing him." Sarah's hands moved automatically. 4 lines. Pressure on the wound. Her face calm. The trauma team assembled. Dr. Marcus Webb, the chief trauma surgeon, barely glanced at her. Nurse, type, and cross. Move. She'd worked under Dr. Webb for 6 months. He'd never asked her name. None of them had. To them, she was invisible, replaceable, just another pair of hands. If they'd looked closer, they might have noticed things. The way she assessed wounds with military precision, the scars on her forearms, hidden beneath her sleeves, the way she never, ever flinched at blood, but they didn't look. The patient on the table was young, maybe 25, pale, dying. Sarah caught a glimpse of the tattoo. On his neck as they cut away his shirt, her breath stopped. A small symbol. Black ink. 3 letters that civilians wouldn't recognize, but she did. This wasn't a random shooting victim. This was one of hers. Dr. Webb barked orders. The team worked frantically, but Sarah could see what they couldn't. The wound pattern. The entry angle. The surrounding tissue. Damage. This wasn't a street crime. This was an execution. Professional. Precise. Meant to send a message. And whoever did it was still out there. "He's crashing." Someone shouted. The monitor screamed. The flat line of a heart that had given up, Dr. Webb called it. Time of death, 20:47. The team began to step back. But Sarah's training kicked in, not her nursing. Training, her other training. The training from another life. Another identity. Another war. She looked at the young man's face one more time. She recognized him now. Operative Marcus Chen. No relation. Despite the shared name, 20-4 years old. Delta Force. Deep cover assignment. And someone had just murdered him on American at soil. Sarah's hand moved to her collar, beneath her scrubs. Beneath the invisible facade, she wore something else. A thin chain. A small metal identifier. One she hadn't touched in 3 years. Not since the day she'd walked away. Since the day she'd chosen a different path. But some oaths don't expire. Some duties don't. And Dr. Webb was already turning away. Nurse prepped the body for no. Her voice cut through the room like a blade. Everyone stopped. Sarah Chen quiet. Forgettable Sarah Chen was looking at the chief surgeon with eyes that had seen things he couldn't imagine. "Step back from the table," she said. "All of you. If you want to see what happens when a ghost decides to come back from the dead, hit that subscribe button. Because what happens next will change everything you thought you knew about the woman in the corner." Wearing SCRUBs. Dr. Webb's face flushed red. "Excuse me?" I said. "Step back." Sarah's hands were already moving. Not toward the crash cart. Toward her bag. The one she always kept in her locker. The one that looked like any other nurse's personal belongings. But it wasn't. Security. Dr. Webb shouted. "We have a nurse having some kind of breakdown." Sarah pulled something from the bag. A black case. Smaller than a phone. She pressed her thumb to it. It beeped once. Twice. Then opened. Inside was a syringe. But the liquid inside wasn't in any hospital pharmacy. It wasn't in any pharmacy at all. What the hell is that? Webb demanded. Sarah didn't answer. She was already calculating. Injection site. Dosage. Time. Since cardiac arrest, 4 minutes. She had maybe 30 seconds before irreversible brain damage set in if it hadn't already. The other nurses were backing away now. They could feel it. The shift in the air, the change in the woman they thought they knew. Sarah leaned over the body. Her hands were steady. Outside, in the parking lot, a man in a black suit stepped out of an SUV. He listened to his earpiece. Then he spoke into his wrist. Repeat. Ghost 7 is active. Copy that. Containment protocol initiated. More vehicles arrived. Silent, dark, no markings. Men in tactical gear began to take positions around the hospital, not to protect it, to seal it inside. Sarah pushed the needle into the young operative's chest, directly into his heart. The liquid was ice cold, experimental, classified above. Top secret? Only 12 people in the world knew it existed. She was one of them, Nurse Chen. I'm ordering you to. You don't give me orders? Sarah's voice was quiet, lethal. She looked up at Dr. Webb. For the first time, with her real eyes, the eyes of someone who'd operated in places that didn't exist. Someone who'd made decisions that saved nations and cost lives. Someone who'd buried her identity so deep, even she'd almost forgotten it. Almost. In about 60 seconds, Sarah said, this room is going to fill with people who will ask you questions you can't answer. She pressed the plunger. I suggest you cooperate. The heart monitor remained flat. Dr. Webb reached for his phone. Security's not coming, Sarah told him. Your cell service just went dark. Hospital-wide. That's impossible, no. It's protocol. The lights flickered, then steadied. But they were different. Now, brighter, harsher, emergency. Lighting, someone had taken control of the tacit hospital's electrical grid. Dr. Webb's hand trembled. Who are you? Sarah didn't answer. She was watching the monitor. 15 seconds since. Injection. The experimental compound was flooding the operative system, forcing ATP synthesis. Restarting cellular respiration. Shocking. The heart through chemical means that would revolutionize emergency medicine, if anyone ever learned it. Existed. 20 seconds. The double doors to the trauma room burst open. 4 men in tactical gear entered. Weapons drawn. Faces covered. They didn't point guns at Sarah. They pointed them at everyone else. Hands visible. Nobody moves. Dr. Webb's face went white. This is a hospital. You can't. This is a federal situation, one of the tactical officers said. You're in our jurisdiction now. It's 25 seconds. Sarah kept her eyes on the monitor. Come on. Marcus, fight 30 seconds. A blip small. Barely there. But a blip. The heart monitor's flat line jumped once. Then again, Dr. Webb's mouth fell open. That's not possible. He was dead. 4 minutes of the monitor jumped again. A rhythm, forming weak, erratic, but alive. Sarah's hands moved with practiced precision. She wasn't a nurse anymore. She was a tactical medic, operating behind enemy lines. She'd done this before. In places with no hospitals, and no backup, no second chances. I need a ventilator, she said. An epinephrine. Normal hospital stock, not my kit. Nobody moved. One of the tactical officers nodded to a stunned nurse. You heard her. The nurse scrambled to comply. Dr. Webb just stared. What did you inject him with? Sarah didn't look up. Nothing you'll ever see again. The young operative's chest rose. Fell. His heart was beating. Impossible, but real. Outside. More vehicles arrived. A helicopter circled overhead. The hospital was locked down now. No one in, no one out, and somewhere in the building, someone was making a phone call to a number that didn't officially exist, reporting something that wasn't supposed to happen. Hey, Ghost had just revealed herself, and the people who'd buried her identity 3 years ago needed to know why. Part 2, the trauma room had become a fortress. Tactical officers at every entrance. Sarah worked over the stabilizing operative. Dr. Webb stood frozen against the wall, his hands still raised. The other nurses huddled. Together, terrified, confused, Sarah inserted the ventilator tube with movements too precise for a civilian nurse. 2. Practiced the kind of muscle memory that came from field, hospitals and war zones, from operating rooms that didn't exist on any map. Vitals. Stabilizing, she said, not to the hospital staff. To the tactical officer behind her. Copy, he responded. Ghost 7. We have a situation developing. Sarah's jaw tightened. Talk to me. 2 vehicles approached the hospital perimeter. Civilian cars. Occupants unknown. They turned away when they saw our presence. Time. 90 seconds ago. Sarah's hands never stopped working, but her mind was racing. They'd found him, tracked him here, and now they knew someone had intervened. Someone with capabilities beyond a normal emergency room. Lock it down, she said. No one gets near this building. Already done. Dr. Webb finally found his voice. You can't just take over a hospital we already have. The tactical officer's tone left no room for argument. Sarah glanced at the monitor. The operative's heart rhythm was stronger now. She'd bought him time. Maybe enough, but time for what? She needed to know what he'd been working on. What had gotten him killed, or nearly killed? Her fingers moved to the young man's neck. Not checking his pulse, checking for something else. There was a small bump beneath the skin. Behind his ear, a subdermal transmitter. Standard issue for deep cover operatives, but this one was damaged. Offline, someone had known exactly where to shoot him. Exactly how to disable his emergency beacon. This wasn't random, this was betrayal. The double doors opened. Again a woman entered. 50s gray suit. Federal credentials hanging from her neck. The tactical officers didn't stop her. She walked directly to Sarah. Agent Chen, not Nurse Chen. Agent Sarah didn't look up. I'm inactive. Apparently not. The woman's name was Director Patricia Vance. FBI. But not the FBI that appeared on television, the other FBI. The one that handled situations that threatened national security. You violated protocol. Vance said quietly. You revealed yourself. You used classified medical technology in a civilian facility? He's one of ours. Past tense. His cover was burned 3 days ago. Sarah's hands stilled. 3 days? And nobody pulled him out? We tried. He refused extraction. Said he was close to something. Close to what? Vance glanced at the hospital staff. Dr. Webb, the nurses. Not here. Then get them out. Vance nodded to the tactical team. Clear the room. Medical personnel to the break room. Under guard? Dr. Webb sputtered. This is my trauma room. My hospital. You can't, sir. One of the tactical officers stepped forward. This is your one warning. Move voluntarily or we'll move you. The chief surgeon had probably never been threatened in his life. His face went purple. But he moved. The other staff followed, scared, confused. One of the nurses young. Maybe 25 caught Sarah's eye as she left. There was recognition there. Not of Sarah's face, but of what Sarah represented. A woman who'd been invisible, who'd been underestimated, who'd been hiding something none of them could comprehend. The doors closed. Sarah and Director Vance were alone with the unconscious operative and 4 tactical officers. Talk, Sarah said. Vance pulled out a tablet. Encrypted, she entered a code. Images appeared. 3 weeks ago, Operative Marcus Chen infiltrated a medical supply company. Chun Med International. Sarah's stomach dropped. Please tell me that's coincidence. His real name is Marcus Park, but his cover identity matched your surname. Intentionally. Why? Because someone inside the organization believed you were involved. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Involved in what? Vance swiped to the next image. A warehouse. Pallets of medical supplies. But in the corner, barely visible weapons. Sarah breathed. Not just weapons. Classified military medical technology, including the compound you just used. Sarah's blood ran cold. Someone was stealing classified emergency medical treatments. The kind that could revive someone from clinical death. The kind that could save lives on battlefields. Or B. Weaponized, reverse engineered, sold. To the highest bidder. You think someone? In my old unit is involved, Sarah said. We think someone who knows you exist is using your identity as cover. That's impossible. I was scrubbed. Deep scrubbed. After you left, you were supposed to disappear completely. But 3 months ago, someone started asking questions. Vance swiped again. A surveillance photo. Sarah leaving the hospital after a shift. Another photo. Sarah at a grocery store. Someone had been watching her. Who? Sarah demanded. You don't know. The surveillance team was professional. Ghost-level professional? My old team? Your old team thinks you're dead. We made sure of that. Wait. Sarah's mind raced. If her team thought she was dead, then who? The operative on the table stirred. A small movement. His fingers twitching. Sarah was at his side instantly. Marcus, can you hear me? His eyelids fluttered. Don't try to talk. You're safe. You're in a hospital. His eyes opened, unfocused, confused. Then they locked on Sarah's face. Recognition flashed, followed by fear. He whispered, his voice barely audible. Not you. It's okay. I'm here to help, Run. The word came out desperate, urgent. Ghost 7. They know. You're the target. Sarah's world tilted. What? But Marcus's eyes were rolling back. The sedative's taking hold. Marcus. Who knows? Who's the target? The nurse. His breathing slowed. They wanted. The nurse. He went under. Sarah stepped back, her hand shaking. Director Vance was already on her radio. All units, priority alert. Possible hostile targeting Ghost 7. Lockdown protocol Alpha. Tactical officers moved to the windows. Weapons ready. Sarah's mind was spinning. They wanted the nurse, not Marcus. Not the investigation. This whole thing had been a setup. They'd shot Marcus. Brought him here. To Metro General Hospital. To her hospital. Knowing someone would call for the trauma team. Knowing she'd be there. Knowing she'd recognize. Him knowing she'd reveal herself. It's a trap, Sarah said quietly. Vance's face was grim. I know. They wanted me to use the compound. To prove I still have access to classified materials. To prove you're active. To prove the identity we buried wasn't as dead as we claimed. Outside, the helicopter circling overhead suddenly banked hard. A tactical officer's radio crackled. We have incoming. 3 vehicles approaching from the east. The windows exploded. Not from gunfire, from flashbangs. The room erupted in blinding light and deafening noise. Sarah's training took over. She dropped, rolled, grabbed the gurney with the operative, pulled it toward the corner. Away from the windows, her ears were ringing, her vision white. But her hands knew what to do. Protect the asset. Secure the position, return fire, except she didn't have a weapon. She was a nurse. She'd been a nurse for 3 years. The tactical officers were recovering faster. Their equipment protected them. They returned fire. Short, controlled bursts. Sarah's vision cleared. Men were rappelling down the side of the hospital. Black tactical gear. No insignia. Professional, coordinated. And they were coming for her. Director Vance was on the floor. Conscious but disoriented. The tactical officers were engaged. Outgunned, Sarah made a decision. She grabbed the medical bag she'd brought, the one with the classified compound. There were other things in there. 2 things she hadn't touched in 3 years. Things she'd promised herself she'd never touch again. Her fingers found cold metal, a Glock 19. Compact, efficient, loaded. With subsonic rounds. Sarah Chen, civilian nurse, had never held a gun, but Agent Sarah Chen, call sign Ghost 7, had qualified expert marksman for 8 years. Running, she pulled the weapon, checked the chamber, flicked off the safety, and for the first time in 3 years, she stopped pretending. Get down, she shouted to Vance. Then she moved, not like a nurse, like a ghost. The first attacker came through the window. Sarah put 2 rounds center mass before his feet hit the ground. He dropped. The second attacker made it 3 steps into the room. Sarah put him down with a headshot, precise, clinical, no hesitation. The tactical officers stared at her, this quiet nurse, this invisible woman, moving like an operator, shooting like a sniper. Ghost 7, one of them breathed. Sarah didn't respond. She was already calculating. 6 more attackers visible. Unknown number in reserve. The hospital had 5 floors. Hundreds of civilians. If this turned into a firefight, people would die. She couldn't allow that. Fall back, she ordered. Get the director and the operative to the secure vehicle. Ma'am, we're not leaving you. That's an order. Her voice carried authority, the kind that came from command, from leading teams in situations where one wrong decision meant body bags. The tactical officer hesitated, then saluted. They grabbed the gurney, grabbed Director Vance, moved toward the door. Sarah covered them, her weapon steady. Another attacker appeared. She dropped him. The others were learning, staying back. Using cover, they knew she could shoot, but they kept coming, because they had orders, and their orders were simple. Bring in Ghost-7, alive or dead. Sarah's earpiece, the one she'd pulled from her bag, crackled to life. A voice, male, calm. Hello. Sarah, it's been a long time. She froze. She knew that voice. Impossible. You're dead, she whispered. So are you. Apparently we both got better. The voice belonged to someone from her past, someone she'd trusted, someone who died 3 years ago, in an operation that had ended her career, the operation that had made her walk away from everything. What do you want? Sarah asked. What I've always wanted. The truth. What truth? The truth about the night we died, Sarah, the night you left me behind. Her finger tightened on the trigger. I didn't leave anyone behind, didn't you? The line went dead, and Sarah Chen realized something terrifying. This wasn't about stolen medical technology. This wasn't about classified compounds or deep cover operations. This was about her, about something that happened 3 years ago. Something she'd buried as deep as her identity. Something that was coming back to haunt her. The ghosts weren't just her call. Sin, they were her past, and they wanted answers. Part 3, Sarah moved through the hospital corridors like smoke, silent, purposeful, deadly. Tactical team had evacuated the operative. Director Vance was secure, but Sarah hadn't followed them. She'd gone the opposite direction, toward the threat. Her weapon was up, her breathing controlled. 3 years of nursing hadn't erased decades of Casqua training. Muscle memory was a beautiful thing. The hospital's emergency lighting cast everything in harsh shadows. Patients were being evacuated to the lower floors. Staff huddled in break rooms. The attackers had breached the 3rd floor. Sarah's floor, the trauma wing. They were searching room by room, looking for her. Sarah pressed against the wall, listening. Footsteps, 2 sets. Military boots on linoleum. She waited. The first attacker rounded the corner. Sarah's hand shot out, grabbed his weapon. Twisted. The man grunted. Tried to resist. She drove her elbow into his throat. He dropped. The second attacker raised his rifle. Sarah was faster. She rolled. Came up behind him. Disarmed him in 3 moves. Put him down with a strike to the temple. Both men unconscious. Not dead. She still had rules. Even now, Sarah grabbed one of their radios. Listened. 3rd floor clear. No sign of the target. Copy, moved to 4th floor. She's running. Different voice cut in. The one she recognized? The impossible voice. She's not running. She's hunting. Be careful, Sarah smiled grimly. At least he remembered her correctly. She moved to the stairwell. Climbed if they wanted her. They'd get her on her terms. The 4th floor was dark. They'd cut the lights. Tactical advantage. Or so they thought. Sarah had operated in places where darkness was the only ally. She moved by sound. By instinct. A whisper of fabric. She fired once. Someone cursed, hit but not down. She's here. 4th floor nurse's station. Footsteps converged. Sarah was already gone. Moving through the shadows, she reached the old surgical wing. Closed for renovations, empty. Dark. Perfect. She wedged herself into position. Behind an overturned gurney, weapon aimed at the door. They came through cautiously. 4 of them, professional, disciplined, but Sarah had one advantage. She knew this hospital, every room, every hallway, every hiding spot. She'd worked here for 3 years. She waited until they were committed, until they'd passed her position. Then she moved. 2 shots. 2 men down, the other spun. Fired blind. Bullets tore through the darkness. Hit walls. Equipment? Sarah was already somewhere else. She came up behind the 3rd attacker. Disarmed him. Used him as a shield. The 4th attacker hesitated. Drop it, Sarah said quietly. Or he dies. The man in her grip struggled. Don't listen to her. She won't. Sarah pressed her weapon against his temple. Wrong. The 4th attacker lowered his rifle. Smart, Sarah said. Now kick it away. Complied. Sarah pushed her hostage forward. Kept her weapon trained on both of them? Who sent you? Neither man answered. Fine. We'll do this the hard way. She grabbed the radio from her hostage's belt. Keyed it. I know you're listening. You want to talk? Let's talk. Face to face. Silence then. You know I can't do that, Sarah. That voice. God. That voice. It shouldn't exist. She'd watched him die. You're not real, Sarah said. You're dead. I saw you saw what you wanted to see. What you needed to see. So you could walk away. That's not true, isn't it? Sarah's hand trembled. Just slightly. 3 years ago, the mission that ended everything, Eastern Europe. A black site facility. Intelligence suggested they were developing biological weapons. Sarah's team went in. 8 operators. The best of the best. They'd been betrayed, ambushed. Sarah had fought her way out. Barely she'd called for extraction, for backup, and she'd made a choice. The kind of choice that haunts you forever. She'd left her team, lead behind Captain David Morrison. Call sign Ghost 1. He'd been wounded. Pinned down. Go, he'd told her. Get the data out. That's the mission. She'd gone. She'd completed the mission. And when the backup arrived, they'd found nothing. No bodies. No evidence, just blood. Morrison was declared. Kia and Sarah had requested immediate discharge. She couldn't lead anymore. Couldn't make those decisions, so she'd become a nurse. Someone who saved lives instead of taking them. But now Morrison's voice was in her ear. Alive. Impossible. Double quotes. Where are you? Sarah demanded. Close. I've always been close, Sarah. Watching. Waiting. For what? For the right moment. For you to prove you're still the operator I trained? I'm not. I walked away. Did you? Because from where I'm standing, you're holding a weapon. Standing over hostile contacts? Operating like you never left. Sarah looked at the men at her feet. At the weapon in her hand, he was right. She'd slipped back into it so easily, too easily. What do you want, David? I want the truth about that night. About what really happened. Do you know what happened? We were betrayed, ambushed. By who? I don't know, liar? The word hit like a bullet. You know, Morrison continued. You figured it out. That's why you left me behind. That's why you ran. I didn't run. You did. And I need to know why. Who was it, Sarah? Who sold us out? Sarah's mind raced. That night, the mission. She'd suspected something was wrong. The intelligence had been too perfect. Too detailed, someone had wanted them there, and when the ambush came, she'd seen something. A face she recognized. Someone who shouldn't have been there. But she'd never told anyone. Because if she'd been right, if her suspicion was correct, it would have destroyed everything. I can't, Sarah whispered. You mean you won't? It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You left me to die to protect someone? I left you to complete the mission. Bullshit. The radio crackled. Morrison's voice was pure fury now. You made a choice, Sarah. You chose someone's reputation over my life. Over our team's lives? And I'm going to find out who. David, please. That's why I took the medical tech. That's why I burned the operative's cover. That's why I led you here. To force you out. To make you choose again. Sarah's blood ran cold. You're behind the thefts. Behind everything. The surveillance. The setup. All of it. You brought Marcus here to die. I brought him here to make you use the compound. To prove you still had access. To prove you're still connected to the people who betrayed us. Morrison, this is insane. No. Insane was trusting you. Trusting the system. I died in that facility, Sarah. They left me in a black site prison for 2 years. 2 years of torture. Of experiments. Of being told every day that my team had abandoned me. Sarah's legs nearly gave out. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. But someone did. Someone knew I was alive. And they left me there. And you're going to tell me who? The lights came back on. All at once. Blinding after the darkness, Sarah blinked. Raised her weapon. The hallway was empty. The 2 men she'd been holding were gone. How? A sound behind her. She spun. Morrison stood in the doorway, not a ghost. Not a voice reel. He looked older, harder. Scars covered half his face. But it was him. Hello, Sarah, he said. She couldn't speak. He raised his hand slowly. No weapon visible. I'm not here to kill you. Not yet. I'm here for answers. David, I don't. His voice was flat. Don't apologize. Don't explain. Just tell me the truth. Who betrayed us? Sarah's weapon was still raised, but her hands were shaking. Now because she knew the truth. She'd always known, and if she said it out loud, everything would change. The hospital, her life, her fragile peace, all of it would burn. Ah, she said. Morrison's eyes went cold. Then you've chosen. He pressed something on his wrist, an alert tone. Somewhere in the building, something beeped in response. Sarah's eyes widened. What did you do? I gave you a chance, Sarah. One chance. You could have told me. We could have handled this quietly. David, what did you do? I escalated. The building's PA system crackled to life. Morrison's voice echoed through every floor. Attention all federal agents. This hospital is now a hostile zone. You have 30 minutes to evacuate all personnel. After that, I'm activating a device that will destroy all electronic systems in a 1-mile radius. Sarah's heart stopped. An EMP. You'll kill the patients. The people on life support? Then you'd better evacuate them. Or tell me what I want to know. This is insane. This is justice. Morrison turned to leave. Sarah aimed at his back. Her finger on the trigger. She could end this. Right now, 1 shot. But she couldn't do it. He knew she couldn't. Sarah. Choose. He walked away. Sarah stood frozen around her. Alarms began to sound. Evacuation orders. Panic. She joined. hospital to save lives. And now she had to choose between the truth and everyone in this building. Her radio crackled. Director Vance's voice. Ghost 7, what's happening? Sarah took a breath, made her decision. Get everyone out. Patients, staff. Everyone. You have 30 minutes. You can't evacuate a hospital in 30. Then get as many as you can. What about you? Sarah looked at the direction Morrison had gone. I'm going to stop him. Alone? It's always been alone, ma'am. Since the night I left him behind? She switched off the radio, checked her weapon, and went hunting for a ghost. The real one this time, not the legend. Not the call sign, but the man she'd left to die, in one way or another. This ended tonight. The truth or her life. Those were the only choices. Left Sarah Chen moved through the chaos, staff running. Patients being wheeled to exits. The hospital descending into panic, but she moved against the tide. Toward the center, toward Morrison, toward the moment she'd been running from for 3 years. She'd been a ghost long enough, time to become real again, even if it killed her. Part for the roof access was locked. Sarah kicked it open. 3 years of nursing hadn't made her weak. She'd kept training. Every morning, every night, just in case the past came. Calling the night air hit her face, cold, sharp. Morrison stood at the edge, looking out over the city.com like he had all the time in the world. 26 minutes, he said without turning. Sarah raised her weapon. I'm not letting you do this. Then shoot me. She didn't. He turned, smiled sadly. That's what I thought. You're still the same, Sarah. Still can't pull the trigger when it matters. I've pulled it plenty. On enemies. On targets. Never on the people you care about. He paused. Never on me. You're threatening innocent lives. I'm threatening nothing. An EMP won't kill anyone. It'll just shut down systems. Create chaos. But no one dies. Patients on ventilators. On dialysis. On monitors will be evacuated. You're making sure of that. Morrison stepped forward. This isn't about them, Sarah. It never was. It's about you and me. And the choice you made? I made the only choice I could. Did you? The question hung in the air. Sarah's weapon didn't waver, but her voice cracked. The mission was to retrieve the data, evidence of biological weapons. I got it. I got it out. That's why we were there. You left me behind to protect the mission. Yes, liar. Morrison pulled something from his jacket, tossed it at her feet. A photo. Sarah didn't pick it up. She didn't need to. She knew what it showed. You recognized him, Morrison said quietly. At the facility. During the ambush. You saw him and you knew. The photo showed a man in tactical gear. Standing with the enemy forces. A man who shouldn't have been there. A man Sarah knew very well, Colonel James Chen, her father. Sarah's weapon lowered. Just slightly. Wasn't he was. Leading the ambush. Working with the enemy. And you saw him? No. Why is? Morrison's voice cracked like a whip. You saw him and you made a choice. Mission success meant exposing him. Meant proving a decorated colonel was a traitor, so you grabbed the data and ran. Left me behind. And buried the evidence. Sarah's hands trembled. You don't understand? I understand perfectly. You chose your father's reputation over my life. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? The roar echoed across the rooftop. Sarah's weapon fell to her side. 3 years of silence. Of buried truth, it came pouring out. He was undercover. Morrison froze. My father, he was undercover. Deep cover. A double agent. He'd been embedded with that organization for 2 years. I didn't know. Nobody knew except a handful of people at the Pentagon. Sarah's voice was hollow now, empty. When I saw him at the facility, I thought the same thing you did. betrayal, treason. But then I saw his eyes. He was trying to warn me, trying to get me out. Morrison's expression didn't change. You're lying. I'm not. The ambush wasn't meant to kill us. It was meant to capture us. To use us as leverage against the U.S. government. My father sabotaged it. Made it sloppy. Gave us a chance to escape. Then why didn't he help me? The question was quieter now. Broken. Sarah met his eyes. 'Cause he couldn't. He'd been burned. Someone on our side had exposed him. He had seconds to decide. Save his cover or save you. He chose the mission. Just like you did. Just like I did.
How Morrison turned away?
His shoulders shaking, not with rage, with something worse. Understanding? Where is he now? Morrison asked. Sarah's silence was answer enough. Dead. 6 months after that mission, car accident. Single vehicle. No witnesses. Morrison closed his eyes. Assassinated. I don't know. I can't prove it. I think so. By who? That's what I've been trying to find out for 3 years. Sarah stepped forward. Her weapon hanging loose. You think I walked away because I couldn't handle it? Because I was weak? I walked away because I was hunting quietly, carefully, without the resources or the backing of the government. Because whoever killed my father is inside the system. Someone high up. Someone protected. Morrison turned. His scarred face was wet. Why didn't you tell me? Because you were dead. They told me you were dead. And when you found out I was alive, I didn't. Not until tonight. Morrison pulled out another photo. This one showed Sarah, 3 months ago. Outside the hospital, someone's been watching you, he said. Someone who knows who you were, who you really are. They sent me this, along with a message. The daughter is the key. I thought they meant you were involved. That you were part of the conspiracy. I'm not. And now. Morrison looked at the photo. But someone thinks you are. Or they want me to think that. Sarah's mind raced. Someone was manipulating them. Using Morrison? Using her? Playing them against each other? The medical tech you stole, Sarah said. The operative you burned, Marcus. He was investigating ChunMed International, your father's company. No, a company that stole his name, his identity. After he died, someone created ChunMed as a front. For what? I don't know. But Marcus was getting close to finding out. Morrison nodded slowly. So they killed him. Or tried to. And they knew you'd be at this hospital. Knew you'd recognize him. Knew you'd reveal yourself. To expose me. To prove I'm active. To prove I'm still connected to classified operations. And to make me think you're the traitor. Sarah and Morrison looked at each other. 3 years of anger. Of pain. Of betrayal. And underneath it all the truth. They'd both been played. The EMP, Sarah said. Can you deactivate it? Morrison hesitated. It's not real. What? The threat. I needed to force your hand. Make you come to me. The device exists, but it's not armed. Not yet. Sarah should have been furious. Instead, she laughed. A bitter, broken sound. You son of a bitch. I learned from the best. Despite everything, Morrison smiled. It was the first real expression Sarah had seen on his face. A glimpse of the man she'd known. The leader she'd followed, her mentor. We need to work together, Sarah said. Someone's targeting us. Using our past against us. Agreed. But we do this my way. David, no. You don't get to lead anymore, Sarah. You gave that up. I'm in command. Sarah bristled. But he was right. She'd walked away from command. From the responsibility? Fine. What's the play? Morrison pulled out a tablet. Showed her a list of names. Everyone who knew about your father's double agent status. 7 people. 3 are dead. 2 are retired. 1 is missing. And the last. Morrison's finger stopped on a name. Sarah's. Blood turned to ice.
Oh, not!
Her. Yes. The name on the screen was Patricia Vance, director of the FBI division handling this operation. A woman who'd recruited Sarah 3 years ago? The woman who'd promised her a clean exit? A new life. The woman who'd been in the trauma room tonight. It can't be Vance, Sarah said. She's been helping, has she? Or has she been controlling you? Keeping you close. Keeping you quiet? Sarah thought back. Every interaction with Vance over the past 3 years. The occasional check-in. The friendly messages. The concern that had always felt a little too perfect. She positioned me here, Sarah whispered. At this hospital. Said it was random placement, but it wasn't. She put me here deliberately, because ChunMed supplies this hospital. Their medical equipment, their pharmaceuticals. You've been surrounded by your father's ghost for 3 years, and didn't even know it. Sarah's legs felt weak. Every surgery, every emergency, every life she'd saved, using equipment from a company that wore her father's name like a mask. She's been watching me, Sarah said, making sure I didn't figure it out. And when Marcus started investigating, she burned his cover, fed him to the wolves. Knowing you'd save him? Knowing you'd use the classified compound? To prove I still had access? To prove I was a liability, Morrison nodded. She's cleaning house. Everyone who knew about your father, everyone who could expose her. Sarah's radio crackled, Vance's voice, concerned, professional. Go 7 status report. We have visual on you and the hostel. Do you need backup? Sarah looked at Morrison. He shook his head. She keyed the radio. Negative. Situation contained. I'm bringing him in. Copy. We'll have a team waiting. The radio went silent. Morrison smiled grimly. She'll kill us both before we make it to the ground floor. I know, so what's the play? Sarah thought fast. Vance controlled the federal response. The tactical teams. The entire operation, they were in a hospital surrounded by her people. No way out unless how many people did you bring? Sarah asked. 12. All former operators. All loyal to me. Where are they? Scattered. Embedded among the evacuating staff and patients? Sarah nodded. Can you trust them? With my life good? Because we're about to need them. She pulled out her phone. Made a call. A number she'd never dialed before. A number she'd been given 3 years ago with one instruction. Only use this if you have no other choice. It rang once. A voice answered. Deep. Authoritative. This is General Marcus Thorne. Sarah took a breath. General. This is Agent Sarah Chen. Call sign Ghost 7. I'm activating emergency protocol Omega. Silence. Then confirm your identity. Full verification. Sarah rattled off her service number. Her clearance codes. Information only she would know. Confirmed, Thorne said. What's the situation? Potential traitor in federal law enforcement. High level. I need extraction in a secure line to the Secretary of Defense. Where are you? Metro General Hospital. Surrounded by potentially hostile federal agents. Another pause. Then, I'll have a team there in 15 minutes. Can you hold that long? Sarah looked at Morrison. He nodded. We can hold, sir. Good. And Agent Chen. Welcome back. The line went dead. Sarah looked at Morrison. We have 15 minutes to stay alive against an entire FBI tactical team led by a traitor with unlimited resources. Yes. Morrison checked his weapon. Just like old times. It's like old times. They moved to the roof access door. Sarah's radio crackled again. Vance's voice. Still calm. Ghost 7, we're sending a team to your location. To assist with the hostel, Negative Sarah said. We're coming to you. I don't think that's wise. It wasn't a request, Director. Sarah could hear the shift in Vance's tone, the mask slipping.
Sarah, don't do this.
Whatever he's told you, it's a lie, is it? Did my father die in a car accident? Or was he murdered? Silence. Sarah, listen to me very carefully. Sarah switched off the radio, looked at Morrison. 15 minutes, she said. Let's make them count. They descended into the hospital, into a building now, controlled by the enemy. 2. Ghosts against an army, but they'd fought worse odds. And survived. The question was whether they could do it again, or if this time their past would finally catch up to them, one way or another. The truth was coming out, and director Patricia Vance was going to answer for what she'd done, even if Sarah had to drag her to hell to do it. Part 5. The hospital corridors were eerily quiet. Now, most patients evacuated, most staff gone, only federal agents remained, and they were hunting Sarah and Morrison. Moved through the darkness. 2 shadows among many. Morrison's team had cut the lights again. Tactical advantage. They knew this would be a fight. Sarah's earpiece crackled. Morrison's voice. I have 3 hostiles. 2nd floor. Northeast stairwell. Copy? I'm moving to flank. They'd separated. Divide and conquer. Sarah reached the stairwell from below. Listened to footsteps above. Whispered commands. She waited until they passed, then moved up behind them. 3 shots. Silenced. Precise 3 agents down. Unconscious. Not dead. She still had rules. Clear, she whispered. West wing clear. Morrison responded. 6 minutes until extraction. They were running out of time. Vance knew backup was coming. She'd be desperate. Desperate people made mistakes, but they also made dangerous choices. Sarah reached the main floor. The lobby, it was completely dark. Too dark. Trapped, she stopped. Pressed against the wall, waited. A voice called out, Vance. I know you're here, Sarah. Both of you. Sarah didn't respond. You called General Thorne. That was smart, but it was also predictable. I've known Thorne for 20 years. I know exactly when his team will arrive, and I know they won't make it in time. A light flickered on. Vance stood in the center of the lobby, alone, hands visible. I'm not armed, she said. I just want to talk. Sarah emerged from the shadows, weapon raised. Talk. Vance smiled sadly. You look just like him, you know. Your father? Same eyes. Same stubborn determination. Don't talk about my father. He was a good man, Sarah. A great agent. One of the best I ever worked with. You killed him. No, I tried to save him. Sarah's finger tightened on the trigger. Liar, it's the truth. Your father's cover was blown by someone in military intelligence. Someone high up. When I found out, I tried to extract him. But he refused. Said he was too close to something. Something big. Vance took a step forward. Sarah didn't shoot. He was investigating a network. A group within our own government, selling military technology, weapons, intelligence, to foreign powers. The biological weapons facility was just one piece. A small piece, and you were part of it. I was investigating it. Your father and I were working together. Parallel operations. He didn't even know about me. Sarah hesitated. Morrison's voice in her earpiece. Don't trust her, but Sarah was listening. The car accident, Vance continued. It wasn't me. It was them. The network? They'd figured out he was compromised, so they eliminated him. Then why hide it? Why not expose them? Because I didn't have proof. Your father died before he could give me the evidence. And when I tried to investigate, I was shut down, threatened, told to drop it or I'd be next. Vance's eyes were wet now, so I did what your father would have wanted. I went deep, built a cover, played the loyal director, and I've been investigating from the inside for 3 years. Slowly, carefully, building a case. Sarah's weapon lowered slightly. Why should I believe you? Because of this. Vance pulled out a flash drive.
Everything.
Every piece of evidence I've collected. Names, transactions, classified operations. It's all here, and I'm giving it to you. She tossed it at Sarah's feet. Because you're the only one I can trust. Your father's daughter? The only person who wants the truth as much as I do? Sarah stared at the flash drive. Morrison's voice. It's a trap. It has to be. But something in Vance's eyes. The door burst open. Not Morrison's team. Not General Thorne's extraction. Military personnel, dressed in unmarked black tactical gear. A dozen of them. Weapons raised, not pointed at Sarah, pointed at Vance. A man stepped forward. Stars on his collar. A General Sarah didn't recognize him. Director Vance, he said calmly. You're under arrest for treason. Vance's face went white. No, this isn't. You've been under investigation for 6 months. We have evidence of your involvement in illegal arms sales, technology transfers, conspiracy to commit murder. That's a lie. I was investigating you were profiting. The general looked at Sarah. Agent Chen, stand down. This is a military operation. Sarah's instinct screamed. Something was wrong. Who are you? She demanded. General Richard Moss, Defense Intelligence Agency. We've been tracking Director Vance's activities for... I didn't ask for your credentials. I asked who you are. The general's expression hardened. Stand down, Agent. That's an order. Sarah's weapon swung toward him. Don't take orders from people I don't know, especially people who show up in unmarked gear with no authentication. Morrison emerged from the shadows. Weapon raised. His team appeared from multiple positions. The soldiers tend. Mexican standoff. This is getting complicated, Morrison said quietly. The general smiled. Not friendly. Cold. You must be Captain Morrison. Dead for 3 years. Remarkable recovery. Who told you I was here? The same person who told us about your little EMP threat. Director Vance. She's been working with us, feeding us information on your activities. Vance shook her head desperately. That's not true. Never we have recordings, Director. Your voice. Your authorization codes? You've been very helpful. Sarah's mind raced. Recordings could be faked. Codes could be stolen. This felt like a setup. Morrison, she said quietly. 3 minutes, copy. 3 minutes until General Thorne arrived. 3 minutes to figure out who was telling the truth. 3 minutes to stay. Alive, Sarah looked at the flash drive on the floor, then at Vance, then at General Moss. It up, she told Morrison. He moved fast, grabbed. The drive, the soldiers tracked him but didn't fire. Morrison plugged it into a portable device. His eyes widened.
Oh, Sarah, it's...
Real names, transactions, everything Vance said. Could be fabricated, Sarah said. Could be, but there's video here. Surveillance footage of your father. Alive. 3 years ago? Sarah's heart stopped. What? Morrison turned the screen toward her. Grainy footage. A parking garage. Her father. Talking to someone. The camera angle was wrong. She couldn't see the other person's face, but she could see the summit. 2 days before his accident, he was meeting someone, Morrison said, passing information. Sarah stared at the screen. Her father, alive in that moment, not knowing he had 48 hours to live. Who is he meeting? She whispered. Morrison enhanced the image. Zoomed in. The other person turned slightly. Just enough, Sarah. Saw the face, and her world shattered. General Richard Moss. The man standing. In front of her, the man claiming to be arresting. Vance was the last person to see her father. Alive, Sarah's weapon came up, pointed directly at Moss. You, the general didn't flinch. Me, you killed him. No, Agent Chen, I tried to save him. Just like Director Vance. But your father was stubborn. Refused extraction. Refused to give up the mission. Liar. Check the footage. I'm trying to convince him to leave. To get out before they find him. But he wouldn't listen. Sarah scrubbed through the video. The conversation was animated. Moss, gesturing. Her father shaking his head. It looked like an argument, but it could also look like a negotiation. A deal. You were part of the network, Sarah said. You were one of the people he was investigating. Moss sighed. I was trying to stop it. From the inside, just like Vance. Just like you've been trying for 3 years. Morrison's voice. 2 minutes. Sarah was out of time. She had to choose. Trust Vance. Trust Moss. Trust neither. All the evidence could be real, could be fabricated. All the stories could be true, could be lies. Her father had died not knowing who to trust, and now she was in the same position. "Everyone lower your weapons," Sarah said. No one moved. "I said lower your weapons." Her voice cracked like thunder. The authority of command, of someone who'd led teams through hell. Slowly, weapons lowered. Not holstered, but lowered. "Here's what's going to happen," Sarah said. "General Thorne is arriving in 90 seconds. He's going to take all of us into custody. Military custody. Secure facility. And we're going to sort this out properly." Agent Chen Moss began. "Shut up. I'm talking." He shut up. "Someone killed my father. Someone in this room might know who. Or might be who. I don't know. I don't trust any of you. But I trust Thorne. And I trust the process." Vance nodded slowly. "Agreed." Moss hesitated. Then agreed. Morrison moved beside Sarah. "And if one of them tries to run?" Sarah's expression was ice. "We shoot them." The rumble of helicopters filled the air. Heavy. Military General Thorne had arrived. The lobby doors burst open. Marines. Real ones. With proper identification, proper uniforms. General Thorne entered. Silver hair. Sharp eyes. He took in the scene. Sarah with her weapon on a dia general. Morrison backing her up. Vance and Moss surrounded. Thorne smiled slightly. "Agent Chen, you certainly know how to make an entrance. I'm invoking protective custody for myself and Captain Morrison, and I'm requesting these 2 individuals be detained for questioning regarding the death of Colonel James Chen." Thorne nodded. "So ordered. Marines, secure the general and the director." Moss stiffened. "General Thorne, I'm a 3-star. You're a person of interest in a murder investigation. Your rank means nothing right now." The Marines moved forward. Vance went quietly, resigned. Moss resisted. "This is a mistake. You don't understand what you're—" "I understand perfectly," Thorne said. "I've been investigating your network for 2 years. And Agent Chen just gave me the excuse I needed to bring you in." Sarah blinked. "You knew?" "Your father was my friend, Agent Chen. When he died, I knew it wasn't an accident. I've been building a case ever since, slowly, carefully, waiting for the right moment." He looked at the flash drive in Morrison's hand. "Is that what I think it is?" Morrison handed it over. Thorne plugged it into his own device. Scrolled through the files. His expression darkened. "This is everything. All the proof we needed." "Vance gave it to me," Sarah said. Thorne looked at the director. "Then maybe you're not as guilty as the evidence suggests." "I'm not guilty at all," Vance said quietly. "I was trying to stop them. Just like you. Just like Colonel Chen. We'll see. You'll have a chance to prove that. In a secure facility, under oath." The Marines escorted Vance and Moss out. Sarah lowered her weapon, her hands shaking. Morrison caught her before she fell. "Easy, you're okay." "It's over." "Is it?" Thorne approached. "Agent Chen, Captain Morrison, you did good work tonight. Your father would be proud." Sarah looked up. "Will we get the truth? About what happened to him?" "You have my word. I'll personally oversee the investigation, and whoever killed Colonel Chen will answer for it. There's something else. Something you should know." Sarah tensed. "What? Your father left something for you?" "A file, sealed, to be opened only in the event of his death, and only by you." He handed her an envelope, worn, sealed with her father's signature. Sarah's hands trembled as she took it. "What is it?" "I don't know. He gave it to me 5 years ago. Said if anything happened to him, you should have it." Sarah stared at the envelope. Her father's handwriting. Her name? Thorne gestured to the exit. "My team will escort you to a secure location. You can read it there. Get some rest. Debrief in the morning." Sarah nodded numbly. Morrison helped her walk. Out of the hospital, into the cold night air, into a helicopter. away from the chaos. The bodies. As they lifted off, Sarah looked down at Metro General Hospital. Her home for 3 years. The place where she'd tried to be someone else. Someone who saved lives instead of taking them. But the past had found her anyway. And now she had to face it. In her hands, an envelope from a dead man. The last words of a father to his daughter. The truth she'd been searching for, or another mystery to solve. She'd find out soon enough. Morrison sat beside her, silent, understanding they'd both been dead. And now they were alive. Ghosts no more. Just two people trying to find justice in a world of lies. Sarah held the envelope, but she didn't open it, not yet. Some truths needed the right moment, and this wasn't it. The helicopter flew into the darkness, toward answers, or toward more questions. Only time would tell. Share the secure facility was underground, concrete, steel. No windows. Sarah sat in a private room. Morrison outside standing guard. The envelope lay on the table in front of her. She'd been staring at it. For an hour, General Thorne entered. Carrying 2 cups of coffee. Should open it, he said gently. I know. What are you afraid of? Sarah's laugh was bitter. That he knew. That he knew I'd leave Morrison behind. That he'd be disappointed. Thorne sat down. Your father knew you better than anyone. He knew exactly who you were. And he was proud. How do you know? Because he told me. 2 weeks before he died, Thorne pulled out his phone. Played a recording. Her father's voice filled the room. Marcus, if you're playing this, it means I'm gone. And it means Sarah probably blames herself. Sarah's breath caught. Tell her it wasn't her fault. Tell her I made my choices. I knew the risks. And I'd make the same choices again. Her father paused. Tell her. She's stronger than she knows. Braver than she believes. And that whatever choice she made in the field it was the right one. Because she made it. And I trust her judgment above anyone's. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. Tell her to open the envelope. Tell her to read what I wrote. And tell her to forgive herself. The recording ended. Thorne handed her a tissue. He knew, Sarah whispered, he knew I'd leave Morrison. He knew you'd make an impossible choice, and that you'd carry the weight of it. He wanted you to know he understood. Sarah picked up the envelope. Her hands steady now. She opened it. Inside was a letter, handwritten, and a small key. She read, My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, then I didn't make it out. I'm sorry. I wanted to see you become the person I knew you'd be. Strong, capable, compassionate. You probably think you failed someone. You probably think you made the wrong choice. Being a leader means making impossible decisions. It means living with consequences that haunt you. It means carrying weight that no one else can see. But it also means having the courage to choose. Even when every option is terrible, even when you know you'll regret it, you have that courage. I've always seen it in you. The key in this envelope opens a safety deposit box. Location on the back of this letter. Inside, you'll find everything. The real evidence, the real proof. The names of everyone involved in the network I was investigating. I couldn't trust anyone else with it. Only you. Use it wisely. Finish what I started. But more importantly, forgive yourself. For whatever happened, for whatever choice you made, because I forgive you. I've always forgiven you, and I'm proud of you always. Dad, Sarah folded the letter carefully, slipped it into her pocket. The key felt heavy in her hand. There's more, she said quietly. Thorne nodded. We'll go together. First thing in the morning, a knock at the door. Morrison entered. Followed by someone else, Dr. Webb, the chief trauma surgeon from Metro General. He looked uncomfortable. Out of place in this military facility. Dr. Webb requested to see you, Thorne said. I approved it. Sarah stood. Doctor, what are you doing here? Webb cleared his throat. I wanted to apologize for what? For not seeing you? For 6 months, I worked beside you, and I never saw you. never asked your name, never recognized what you were capable of. He looked at his hands. Tonight, you saved that operative's life. You took command of my trauma room. You did things I've never seen in 30 years of medicine. And I realized something. He looked up. I've been so focused on credentials, on hierarchies, on who deserves respect based on their position, that I forgot to see people, to see their actual skills, their actual worth. Webb stepped forward, extended his hand. I don't know who you really are. I don't understand half of what happened tonight, but I know you're someone who saves lives, someone who makes impossible choices, someone I should have respected from day one. Sarah shook his hand. Thank you, doctor. No, thank you, Nurse Chen. He paused. Or is it Agent Chen? It's just Sarah. Webb nodded. Sarah, if you ever want to come back to Metro General, you have a job. No questions asked. Full respect. Whatever you need? Sarah smiled. I appreciate that. But I don't think I'll be doing much nursing in the near future, I figured. Webb turned to leave. Stopped. Your father would be proud of who you became, of what you did tonight. He left. Sarah sat down heavily. Morrison took the chair beside her. You okay? I don't know. Am I? You did good tonight, Sarah. You made the hard calls. You got us out alive. You've got us the truth. But at what cost? The hospital's a mess. People were terrified. Marcus is barely alive. Marcus is alive because of you. That's what matters. Sarah looked at him. I'm sorry for leaving you behind. I know. I thought about you every day. I know that too. Morrison reached out, took her hand. We were both following orders, Sarah, both doing our duty. Your father understood that. I understand that. You need to understand it too. Sarah squeezed his hand. Thank you. The door opened again. This time, someone Sarah didn't expect. Vance, still in custody. But present, General Thorne stood beside her. Director Vance has been cleared, Thorne said. Preliminary investigation confirms her story. She was working undercover, investigating the network. Everything she told you was true. Vance looked exhausted. Older than her years. Agent Chen, I owe you an apology. For putting you in that position, for not being transparent earlier, for not trusting you with the truth. Sarah stood. You were protecting your investigation. I understand. Oh, I was protecting myself. I was afraid. Your father died trying to expose these people. I didn't want to end up the same way. Vance stepped closer. But you didn't run. You didn't hide. You faced it head on, just like he did. She pulled out a badge. A real one. FBI. But different markings. Special Agent. Counterintelligence Division. Your father held this position before he went undercover. It's been empty since he died. I'd like you to take it. Sarah stared at the badge. I'm not FBI, no. But you're an investigator. A protector. Someone who won't stop until the truth comes out. That's what this position needs. Sarah took the badge. Felt its weight, her father's position. What about Morrison? I have something for him too. Vance turned to Morrison. Captain Morrison, your record says you died 3 years ago. I can keep it that way, or I can reinstate you. Full rank, full benefits, whatever you choose. Morrison looked at Sarah. She nodded. Reinstate me, he said. I'm tired of being dead, Vance smiled. Done. She turned to Thorne. What about General Moss? Thorne's expression darkened. Still in custody? Still being questioned, but the evidence is mounting. Financial transactions. Communications with foreign agents. Arms sales. He's going down, and the network. We're rolling it up now. Using the evidence from the flash drive and whatever's in that safety deposit box. By tomorrow, we'll have arrested 20 people. By next week, 50. This ends now. Sarah felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace. Not complete. Not perfect, but peace. Her father's death would have meaning. His sacrifice would matter. The network would fall. There's one more thing. Thorne said. He gestured to the door. It opened. Someone walked in. Young male. Bandaged Marcus Chen, the operative Sarah had saved. He was awake, weak, but alive. He saluted. Agent Chen, I wanted to thank you. For saving my life, for risking everything. Sarah returned the salute. You're Delta Force. You'd have done the same. Maybe, but you actually did it. They told me what you used. The classified compound? You could have been arrested. Dishonorably discharged? Imprisoned, yeah. Why? Sarah looked at her father's key. At Morrison? At Vance and Thorne? At all the people who'd fought for the truth? Because some oaths don't expire, she said quietly. Some duties don't end. I swore to protect and serve. And that means everyone. Even when it costs me everything. Marcus smiled. They told me your call sign, Ghost 7. I understand it now. You're not a ghost because you're invisible. You're a ghost because you can't be killed. Can't be stopped. Can't be erased. He extended his hand. Sarah shook it. Get some rest, operative. You earned it. So did you, ma'am. He left. Escorted by medical staff, Thorne stood. It's O for O. Oh, you should get some sleep. We have a lot of work ahead of us, Sarah nodded. General, thank you. For believing my father. For investigating. For being there tonight. He was my friend. And now you are too. Thorne left. Vance followed. Sarah and Morrison were alone. As Morrison said. What now? Now we open that safety deposit box. We finish what my father started. We take down everyone involved. And then, Sarah smiled. And then I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to nursing. Maybe I'll stay in counterintelligence. Maybe I'll do both. The humble nurse who's secretly a federal agent? Something like that. Morrison stood. I'm with you. Whatever you choose. We're a team again. A team. They walked toward the door. Sarah paused. Looked back at the room. This is where she'd read her father's final words. Where she'd been. Forgiven, where she'd stopped being a ghost. And started being herself again. Sarah Chen. Nurse, agent, daughter, protector she. Turned off the lights, closed the door, and walked toward the future, whatever it held. 3 days. Later, Metro General Hospital life had returned to normal, mostly patients in beds. Doctors making rounds. Nurses bustling, but everyone knew something had happened, something big. Something classified. Dr. Webb stood in the empty trauma room, looking at the space where Sarah Chen had revealed herself. Where she'd saved a life. Where she'd commanded his staff like a military. Operation Doctor. He turned, a young nurse, new, confident. Yes, there's someone here to see you. Says she knows you. Webb followed her to the lobby. Sarah stood there. In civilian clothes, jeans, jacket, she looked different. Lighter somehow. Nurse Chen, Webb said. Then corrected himself. Sarah, Doctor, I wanted to thank you. For what you said at the facility. I meant it. Do you want your job back? Sarah smiled. Not full-time. But I was thinking maybe part-time. A few shifts a month? Keep my skills current. What about the rest of the time? I have another job now. Federal work. Classified. Webb nodded. The humble nurse with a secret identity. Something like that. She handed him a card. On it, FBI, Special Agent Sarah Chen, Counterintelligence Division. If you ever see anything suspicious, medical equipment that doesn't feel right, supplies from unknown vendors, anything that makes your instincts scream, call me. Webb took the card. I will. Sarah turned to leave. Sarah? She stopped. Your father. Was he really a hero? Yes, he was. Like you. Sarah's smile was sad. I'm just someone who makes hard choices and lives with them. That's what heroes do. She left. Walked out of the hospital into the sunlight. A black SUV waited, Morrison in the driver's seat. Ready? He asked. Ready? They drove away, 2 ghosts. Alive again, hunting the people who'd killed their past, protecting the future. And somewhere, in a cemetery across town, a headstone read, Colonel James Chun, devoted father. Decorated officer, true patriot, some duties never end. The wind rustled the trees, carried away the past, and left only truth and justice. And a daughter who would finish what her father started? No. Matter the cost. Because some oaths don't expire. Some duties don't end, and some badges are silent. But they're still there, still watching, still protecting, forever.